about
I
that.
can't say that I believe it's going
For
to
some reason, it keeps
survive.
What do we say is a
disconnecting and
win?
reconnecting.
10 rounds if
and my
it doesn't
theory
open?
is that we have a
Well, we
giant
already spent way
rainstorm
more
going
than that.
on.
Oh, you mean of the 50?
But
Of
let's
the
see
50.
how many more
I'm going
rounds
to
I can
say
put in this.
2 to 3
They
rounds.
already put
It's going to pop.
I think
2 to 3
15
rounds?
I bet it
rounds
will.
in it so
Yeah.
far.
I'm going to
including
take
in
the over on
shackle,
that.
and it,
Okay.
this lock has not
Let's
broken
go
yet.
find out.
Okay.
Now they're doing the big rounds.
Plan. You got those eyelets in the back.
Oh, baby. Oh, that thing is, you can't even touch it. You can see a bullet sticking right there.
Oh, wow.
See it? The outer casing. The
That's
copper.
got to be hot.
Man. All right.
Oh, yeah, there's the steel penetrator.
Sure is. Man. Well.
Okay, well, let's get this rig back set and keep shooting.
Yeah. You may need
Yeah,
another
you can hear the thundering
couple of
outside.
minutes to
It's
anchor this thing
definitely a
down.
lightning storm that connects and disconnects, so I apologize. I'm gonna have to rip this later and put it out on YouTube. I love that this caliber is so strong that it actually loops around in circles where it's anchored to. That's just amazing. Like, look at that. It's like, wee! Watch. Wee! See that loop? Oh, I think that may have... Oh, that shot straight off. Bam! You see how many rounds it took so far? What, they put like 10, 15 in there?
Okay,
The highest
we're off.
caliber?
Let's see. Looks like about 15 yards past our test rig.
How much energy does it take to throw 9 pounds 15 yards through
Oh,
the...
look, we've even got a little penetrator sitting here. Well, that's nice and convenient. I'm almost afraid. Oh, that's hot.
Man, that's soft steel. I mean,
Think
it's
you
not
can hold
armored.
that for 10 seconds?
No,
Okay, folks.
no.
20 rounds of 50 BMG to shoot this off.
Jesus.
I would have said that was a win at 10 rounds. I am stunned this thing lasted as long as it did. When Squire
Is
says
your
that
wallet
is the
hurting for how
toughest
expensive
padlock,
the
or the
lock
strongest
is,
padlock
or
in the
the
world,
amount of rounds they put
They
in
are
it and
not
how much
absolutely
each
right.
round
They are not
costs?
exaggerating. This is awesome. There's one of those penetrators right there.
another one right in it.
Yep.
Yeah, those steel core 50s, they...
All right, it looks like what happened. Remember the 308 armor piercing had partially gone through the shackle? You must have repeatedly hit it over here on the left side and eventually caused it to break.
I think
Right,
that's exactly what happened. It shattered here, and there's the other end of the shackle. It broke in 2 places, but probably from a couple strikes of
I
the
will
50
say the
there.
lock is pretty expensive too.
I know,
so yeah,
absolutely
this is
incredible.
from all of the their
But the locking
Patreon
mechanism never let
subscribers
go.
and
Look at that.
YouTube money they've made, as well as their
That
day jobs.
is one
Okay,
tough lock.
folks, this is definitely the strongest padlock in the world. I have no doubts about it. 50 BMG, 20 rounds, 40 rounds of 308 armor piercing, and 60 rounds of 5.56. That was a marathon.
That's a lot of
Earned the
punishment.
bragging rights, no question.
No question.
Like, I don't even think a
folks, that's all
dinosaur
I
could
have for
take
you
that much
today. If
punishment.
you do have any questions or comments about this, please put them below.
I just think it's absolutely goddamn hilarious that, they're both, they're very knowledgeable in firearms. Lockpicking lawyers, particularly famous for showing, which is something that keeps me awake at night too, is how crappy locks are for gun locks are for the most part. There's a lot of snake oil on that. But I think it's hilarious that we found mutual respect of each other, like, being respectful, not obnoxious firearm owners. And we're like, why don't we just take our big, strongest locks and try shooting them with the weapons we have just to see how long they last? And this one, I think, takes the cake with how much punishment you could take with that. Holy crap! That's why, like, if I was rich, I'd buy two of these. One to just keep and maybe even do on the live stream, and then the other one I'd bring to DEF CON shoot and basically replicate this, but with like even more variety of firearms, particularly because at DEF CON shoot, I think one year someone brought their own homemade like cannon, like a cannon cannonball cannon that you would have like on a pirate ship, except made with modern day stuff. So it's pretty rad out there. We're gonna look at three more videos if possible. If we keep getting disconnects, we might just do only like one or two more videos here. And as I said, BosnianBill, who, as I reiterated, has retired recently from doing the YouTube channel, as well as just, I'm pretty sure he's still picking locks, but he's just stepping back from being super involved in the lock sporting world. And he was known for two things. Like, again, in the very beginning, he was calling out other lockpicking videos because they were really being dishonest and disingenuous with their premise, where people could easily mistake the crap they were doing for education, like the same way how, like, kids watch the Paul brothers and then try to do terrible, sexist, and dangerous physical stunts and then wonder why they have inverted kneecaps. But he really grew his channel by, one, reviewing lockpicking tools, but he didn't really review locks, but he often reviewed or showed off strange or interesting lock designs that you don't encounter a lot, besides just also bitching about master locks. And here's another video that I haven't seen that I've always been recommended to me, which is this like really bizarre lock that he jokingly calls, or maybe not even jokingly, alien technology. I've never seen this video, but we're gonna see what like one of his locks reviews were like, with one of the weirdest locks that just, I'm just looking at the picture of it and it's goddamn weird. So this is gonna be my, like, even though I'm dead tired right now, this is gonna be my raw reaction for you folks who stuck around, and thank you for sticking around on this, especially if you're on Twitch. You can, if you haven't followed us and you follow us during our stream, not only will you get a notification that you followed and we cheer you on, and you get notifications every time we go live, but once we reach over 1,000 followers on Twitch, we can upgrade both our Twitch and D Live accounts, and that would be so cool. I also like talking with people in the chat, and as Binary Badger's been freaking out about the amount and the amount of ammo and how high caliber they had to go in order to actually blow that lock open. It's pretty nuts. But if you're also just here to watch and learn, as I always keep saying, if you're a lurker, that's great. Keep lurking and keep learning. I love our lurkers as well. As long as you're watching and learning stuff from here, even if it's like technical errors that are going on, and you're learning of what not to do when live streaming, I'm always happy that you're here. So let's look at this, what he calls alien technology. I've never seen this video, so we're going to check this out. And then, provided that the stream doesn't keep dying, we're going to do one or two more videos, and I think we'll be golden. So here we go. Like the Tasmanian devil mixed with Jaws on that one right there. I love all these weird intros he does.
The Expos Mag. Guys, there's been a lot of talk about this particular lock on some of the message boards, some of the lock channels. I got this from Lockman28. He's right there. Anyway, thought I'd do a quick introduction on this and then pick it. It's a little bit easier to pick than what you might expect, but before we get to that, I'm going to show you some of the details of this lock. Now, first of all, you'll notice it has a notch located here, and that's simply a guide notch. This outer ring, this part, does not turn. You'll also see a little guide here. This is to align your lock properly. In fact, this whole ring spins around, and inside of there, on this plate, there are 23 different holes, and beneath it has to line up perfectly with the holes beneath it. I would imagine that different locks, I've got a sample size of one here, but I would imagine that different locks probably align at different positions. For example, right there, my lock aligns somewhere like right in there, and surprisingly, right there, all the holes line up with the dimple or with the pins beneath there. So I didn't expect that, but it just plays out. There's only one exception. It's located, I can't see through the camera lens, but I think it's this one right here. There's no pin beneath that one. Pretty interesting lock. So how does it work? Well, you got a weird lock, you've also got a weird key. If I get her apart here, try imagine walking around with that in your pocket. Pretty good sized
looks like a
key,
European
round.
plug.
It's going to be a lump in your pocket all the time. But when you take a look at it, you see a couple of weird things. This is that notch that aligns it inside of the lock properly. And then we got the pins, of course, different depths there, you see that? But we got a weird looking pin right here. It's a hollow pin. And as you can imagine, I told you about that spinning ring. When you grab this out of your pocket, you push, that's kind of loaded in there like that. You push that up, and it aligns with that little rod, slides over it. And then you rotate it until the notch lines up on the top there with that hole, and then it slides in. You push it against the spring pressure, and then you can open the lock. It stays in there, rotates freely 360, and then it'll pop out, and you get it back to the very beginning.
It seems like it's just a really fancy tubular
That's one of the
lock.
first weaknesses of this lock that I would like to try to exploit. I'm lazy, and if this were my lock, I would go to work in the morning and I would stick this thing in there. I would lock my door, I would pop it out, and I would walk away. And I would leave that little notch in exactly the right position. I wouldn't bother. I mean, ideally, you would take your finger and you would spin that around so nobody knew what position that was in. But by leaving this over here like that, located right there, it aligns up the holes that are necessary to open my particular lock. So if you run across these, just bet that the person was just as lazy as me. Get yourself a pencil or something, and at least starting out, you want to mark where that little peg is. And we're going to mark him right there. We're just going to assume that he didn't do this little finger spinning trick. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's pick it. Let's put it in the vise, and I'm going to show you how to open this thing. It's quite a bit easier than what you might imagine. Alright guys, I said the first thing you want to do is align this inner rotating disc correctly. Now you can see that's where it goes, at least with my key, but there's any number of places it could go. But I've noticed as I rotate this thing around, it's rare that you get almost all of them to line up. You get roughly half of them to line up. But in this position, the one that my key puts it in, they're all exposed. Every single one of, well, bar one, there's one single hole that's not lined up with a pin. All the rest of them are lined up at least 3/4. Most of them are perfectly aligned. So even if it's aligned somewhere else with another key, I think this is probably a good place to start. And as it happens, this little peg is lined up just about with the number 7 on that Taiwan patent. So right about there, you'll get everything perfectly aligned. All right, so we got 23 pins to work with. That's a little bit intimidating, and that's one of the factors of this lock. I think it's designed to intimidate. And I'll tell you right now, first time I picked this and got it open, it blew me away. I couldn't believe it because it happened so fast, as did the second and third time. And I had only been picking a few minutes, and I very quickly figured out that although there's 23 pins, 17 of them are fake. There's only 6 pins in this lock that are real.
Yeah, you can tell by looking at the key.
We don't know which ones they are. And I'll tell you, the way we're going to find that out, I'm going to use this little probe. It's just a bent probe. And just pick any hole. I'm going to pick this one, and I'm going to push down. I'm doing that